What's the weirdest rule you had in your home growing up? I wasn't allowed to put sugar in my tea because my mum told me that when you go to prison they don't let you have sugar, so it will make prison that much harder. Thanks for having so much faith in me, mum. I'm pretty sure you are allowed sugar for your tea in prison. I'm surprised she didn't lock you in, because in jail you get locked in. At my friend's house they had a no pizza balling rule. There were 3 teenage brothers and, when they ordered pizzas, at least a couple larges, tempers flared quickly when people would try to grab as many slices as they could. The first rule in place was that you couldn't have more than 1 slice at a time, and you could grab another once you had the last bite in your mouth. But one of the brothers quickly figured it out that if you ball up a slice he could fit it in his mouth and grab another one, hence, no pizza balling. Time to deliver a pizza ball. If the dare officer urges you something and it smells familiar, say nothing. I will explain it later. Also, if mum's room smells like incense, it is the best time to ask for something. Oh my god, that's why my parents always burned incense. I wasn't allowed to drink the milk left over after eating cereal. Never really got an explanation, but my dad would yell if I tried. I would get in trouble for not drinking the milk. That's so bizarre. We weren't allowed to say we were bored. We had a board jar, 50 pence a slip up. This wasn't an official rule in my house, but if I told my mom I was bored, she would give me a chore, so I stopped saying it. I was never allowed to leave a drink in the car because, according to my mother, someone could poison it. She's always been overly paranoid about safety, but that one is my favorite. The only movies we could watch on Sunday were 1, Bambi, and 2, The Sound of Music, but only Sunday. We weren't allowed to go in my parents' room ever. When I say ever, I mean ever. One day my brother and I decided that we couldn't take it anymore, so we snuck into their room. There wasn't anything in particular that was strange, but it was still weird that we weren't allowed in there. Oh, I had that rule. It wasn't until I was older that I dared to go in their bedroom. To some degree, I think it makes sense. My parents were mostly cool enough to hardly ever come into my room, and only did after they knocked on the door and asked to come in. They didn't even clean my room for me. It was a rule that went both ways and was about respecting each other's space. So I felt that was cool. No pooping or peeing within the hours of 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock AM or PM AM. Not sure if they had a reason, but it was always so random. Weird. How was that enforced? They just always told me not to. I bet this was their window for naughty time. They didn't want you wandering around the hall in case you heard them getting their freak on. You can play San Andreas but only on mute. You can kill all the prostitutes who want, but we don't tolerate foul language in this house. It kind of makes sense. You're not going to murder someone, but you'll cuss. We were not allowed to use the front door, ever. There was a metal screen on it with a deadbolt that needed a key for either side. My stepdad kept the key and even visitors had to go to the back through the side gate. With rural family, the front door is only used on formal occasions, holy holidays, where distant family comes. Otherwise everyone comes in the side or back porch. It wasn't a rule, but the door would either be locked and deadbolt, or you'd get treated weird for using it. We couldn't say the word fart, ever. It was up there with fuck and shit as far as bad words. I'm telling your mom you said 3 naughty words. I've already seen. Hair's fucking grounded. We weren't allowed to say I'm the best, or I'm the greatest. My dad grew up in a competitive household. I went to private Christian school and some kids told me they got in trouble at home if they said something was awesome. Only God is awesome. They'd be told, what about his works? Well, are you saying God's works aren't awesome? I wasn't allowed to wear my hat backwards. My dad thought that it was a gang thing. Mind you, this was in rural Wisconsin in the 90s. My parents are wonderful people, just may not have had the best understanding of the world at that time. My grandpa would always wear hats and, while he is sleeping, I put it on him backwards and he doesn't notice until someone tells him that if someone knocked on the door, we were not allowed to move or speak until mom decided that yes, we were home and would accept company. Didn't realize how weird that was until my friend came over and seemed surprised when someone knocked on the door, and I covered her mouth and pulled her away from the curtains. My mom refuses to answer the door for unannounced visitors and to this day will still pretend no one is home if she doesn't feel like socializing. It's even worse when they call her cell phone and hear it ringing from within the home despite every television, being on mute and every light in the house being turned off. Is this weird? I don't answer the door unless I'm expecting someone either. After school treat was the only time we could have cookies. Only 3, not too weird, but it had a significant impact. I'm 50 now and will still have exactly 3 cookies when I have cookies. Cursing Thursdays. You could say whatever you wanted with no consequences. Had someone stay over who knew the rule. Opened my parents' bedroom and said good night motherfuckers. If you didn't swear at your parents on the other days of the week, this proves the purge works. Realization dawns on me that the purge movies make sense now. I should never ask what's for lunch/dinner. My mom and dad would answer food and grilly, so we stopped asking after a while. That's actually quite funny. Whenever my parents asked me what I wanted for dinner I would always say food. They stopped asking me what I wanted to eat when I said it in front of some guests, which made it seem like they didn't feed me. No violent video games unless they were about history, so Call of Duty World at War was okay, Age of Empires, Assassin's Creed. If you come home at night and the door's locked, even if I have a key, find somewhere else to sleep. Can't remember which serial killer this pertains to, but one got a victim this way. A girl came home past curfew and her parents said she had to sleep outside. Then the killer took her from her porch. My memory of this is very vague, so feel free to correct me if I'm wrong about the details. You don't use save on the computer, you always use save as, because if you don't you could delete everyone's information on the computer. At least your parents knew the difference between save and save as, but save doesn't wipe the computer. For some reason I couldn't say crap but it was okay to say shit and ass. This was around the time I was 11/12. I'm gonna go take a CR, I'm going to force shit out of my ass. No singing at the dinner table. This rule was frequently broken. I can't remember what I did wrong, but my dad came up with about 20 pages of rules I had to follow as a punishment. The weirdest was that I could no longer eat ice cream sandwiches. Was it in MLA format though? Wasn't allowed to watch anything with a black person in a prominent role. My dad was super racist, so I missed out on everything from That's So Raven to Fresh Prince. Even Dora got a hard pass. My dad was the same, till his own dad informed him that he was not, in fact, anywhere close to being white. I'm curious how your dad lived that long without knowing he wasn't white. Even if he looked white, how could he know nothing of his background? He was blind so they just told him he was white, a la Clayton Bigsby. We were only allowed 1 towel a week. We could do whatever we wanted with it, but we didn't get another until next week. This was a test. You were supposed to weaponize your towel and take your siblings' towels, becoming the towel god. How do you live with being such a disappointment? My grandmother said not to shit during a lightning storm because a bolt of lightning might strike the pipe and electrocute me. My stepmom would send strongly worded emails to my mom regarding my overconsumption of yogurt at their house. And once again, Brenda, your child has taken another one of my key lime pie plates. She has her own, and I can't understand how you haven't explained to her that the yogurt is not communal. My parents are awesome, but I have some weird cousins. When I was younger my parents went on a short anniversary trip, leaving me and siblings with my older cousin to watch us. She is the same age as my parents. I remember one morning turning on Magic School Bus, and she frantically grabs the remote from me and turns it off. She then proceeds to go on a lecture on how witchcraft is a sin and made by Satan himself, and that Magic School Bus is one of those sinful abominations. I couldn't fucking believe it. Turns out her kid wasn't allowed to watch anything like that. Harry Potter, Magic School Bus, Wizards of Waverly Place, some of the many things that apparently are just a gateway to joining a satanic cult. Her sister held the same beliefs. I had to recite multiplication from 1-12 if I wanted to play games. I can respect this one. Actually, has it helped your quick math skills? Yes. Bedtime was 7 PM until I was in my teens. I didn't realize other kids had much later bedtime until I was a teenager. I think it was mostly because my mum's favorite soapy comes on at 7 PM. We were noisy kids. My dad hated it when I walked barefoot on the beach. He always wore tennis shoes at the beach. Is he from Central America? Sand fleas or jiggers are a very real nightmare thing that burrow into your skin and swell up to the size of peas. Don't look them up if you want to sleep. I wasn't allowed to eat my mom's cheese and crackers, so when I went to my wife's house her mom had some and my sister-in-laws and wife were eating them. They offered me some and I told them I'm not allowed. They were so confused. When I hit high school and got my first GF, my dad made a rule where if I wanted to get laid just tell him and he'd leave the house for as long as I needed, but only if I agreed to do the same when his GF came over. My dad made up a rule to stop my big brother from asking about getting a dog every 10 seconds. We had neighbors on both sides who had dogs, so the rule was that only every other house could have a dog. My brother believed it for a long time. Calvin's dad logic. Well played. This is golden, Mr. Skeletal. It appears only once every 20,000 years. Like the video and subscribe to comment awards in 20 seconds or you will never have calcium and good bones again. PG! On top, food chain, won't stop, new game, hot box that blue haze, one lock, 2 chains, no bras, 2 babes, mic drop, new stage, lights in my rear view, 5 cops, food race, faster than a Tesla, they say I'm exhausted.